Adam Gase for the Miami Dolphins got fired. That's after 3 seasons, he made the playoff once. Had a couple 500 seasons where they've been kind of mediocre. I don't know how I feel about the firing, bro.
You don't know how do you not know how to feel about the firing?
Because like
it was inevitable. That man did not do any offense. His excuse every season was that there was injuries, but the NFL runs with injuries. This is not like the NBA where players are injured, once every 3 months or something like that. There's injuries every single game. So that's not an excuse to have. He had his chances with all these quarterbacks that he was like the quarterback whisperer and all this. Tannehill, he wanted Jay Cutler. They got him Jay Cutler. After that, he used Osweiler, which honestly nobody had hope for. But still, it was a quarterback that he was okay with, right? So it's like, are you surprised? The Dolphins are still an 8-8 team.
Yeah, but you got to understand the main strength of that team, the thing that could elevate them to that next level was that O-line. And that's always been a concern for the Miami Dolphins. It's been a concern for years now. I don't know if they need to find a better O-line coach, better trainers, or I don't know, because like the O-line's constantly getting injured, and that's constantly holding back the Miami Dolphins. So I understand, he's doing a lot of dink and dunk, a lot of screens and stuff. It's kind of predictable, but like if your O-line can't hold up for your quarterback, if your O-line can't protect your quarterback, then it's like your quarterback's going to get hit, so you got to get rid of the ball quickly. And if you got to do screens just so that you don't get murdered and get injured, then that's what you're going to have to do. He tried to play around that. He tried to play with what he had. Unfortunately, the O-line wasn't always, for the most part, almost always not together, healthy. I mean, you can't blame the guy. At that point, yeah, maybe hire better.
You have to make it work. You have to make it work, though. Like, it was never healthy, but what O-lines are ever healthy? Like, come on, man. Every single move that they wanted him to do, they did. Okay? He got rid of Jarvis Landry. He got rid of
that Jarvis Landry move was weird.
After that, Kenyon Drake starts popping off. Then he takes him off. Everything that he's done. Look, Ndamukong Suh, he went to the Rams. What are the Rams? One of the best teams in the NFL. He got rid of Jay Ajayi. He became a Super Bowl champion. And now you have Jarvis Landry balling out with a rookie quarterback. Something you had in this great quarterback you had in Tannehill. Oh, Jay Cutler, one of the quarterbacks that he took out the best when he was in Chicago. Jarvis Landry wasn't producing much. Now you got him with a rookie quarterback in Cleveland, okay, out of all places, and he's balling out. So what does that tell you about the coach? When all these players that left that team started producing. And on top of that, the players that were already in the team, okay, including veterans like Frank Gore, all disagreed with keeping him around. So what does that tell you?
Well, just to address some things, former players that are balling out, like you were saying, Ndamukong Suh. The guy isn't really doing all that much right now in the Rams. Yes, they're not even one of the best defense, to be honest. The best defensive player there is, without a doubt, Aaron Donald. Candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. The man's a beast, but the defense as a whole, they haven't performed to what they're supposed to. They're supposed to have a monster unit, and they haven't been playing like that. And I don't expect Ndamukong Suh to get those numbers because Aaron Donald's getting single coverage now. He's just going crazy. He's getting his. And that's because Ndamukong Suh allows him to free it up. But he's not really standing out right now. Same thing with Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry started doing good. He's balling out, but he hasn't really stood out in Cleveland. Granted, it's his first year with Baker Mayfield, and the whole head coach things and everything is going to get sorted out next year. But these guys haven't exactly been popping off. Jay Ajayi, he joined a super loaded squad when he went to go win the Super Bowl.
They were missing run game, and guess what? He brought that to them.
They already had LeGarrette Blount. It just made him even more explosive. That's really all it was. That's why he had such a clear lane, because he had that amazing quarterback. He had the defense standing behind him, and he had 2 more complimentary running backs.
So it's just coincidental then?
I don't think it's coincidental. I just think there's a way of explaining most of these things, bro.
But he had these players that joined squads, okay, that were already doing really well. And those players meshed well with those teams. How come, except for Landry joined Cleveland, but how come you have those players and you can't do anything? And now you have veterans, like I said, Frank Gore, and now you have Cameron Wake too, and Kenny Stills that don't approve of him. You don't think that that's kind of like shows you the type of coach he is? You can, because sometimes players, even if the coach is doing bad, they stick for their coach. That's their coach, they look at the negative and they say, you know what, he's right. There was a whole bunch of injuries, but after this point, when you have players like that, what else you have to say? Kenyon Drake was gonna ask to get traded if they kept him around.
That whole Kenyon Drake thing, bro. Like, to be fair, he was popping off early, but he also had some fumbling issues, which is why he had to bench him, which is why Frank Gore took on such a big role this season. Because for most of the season, Kenyon Drake was unreliable. He kept dropping the ball, and as a running back, the main thing you have to do is hold on to the football. He couldn't do that. That's why they had to rely so heavily on Frank Gore. When you were talking about him getting pulled back, I just wanted to address that right quick.
Point is that if your locker room doesn't stand by you, there's clearly more issues than just winning games, right? I feel like that's the truth.
Yeah, probably.
There's teams out there that have a lot of losing and they stand by their coach. And you know what? Whatever. But now it's the question to be asked is where are the Dolphins moving from here? Because that's a lot of Dolphins fans were like, well, we could get rid of Adam Gase, but what coach are we going to get?
I mean, what I was looking up was basically it was rebuild is what they're thinking. They're saying the owner of the Dolphins was basically doing a report saying that Gase wanted to win now, but basically the Dolphins he didn't say rebuild, but that's what he was basically implying from the fact of also mentioning all the things of Gase. He said Gase would hold different players to different standards. He wasn't really fair with everybody.
Of course.
He would alienate different players. So
Tannehill. That was his favorite.
I mean, besides Tannehill, I mean, I wouldn't want to be on a team with Tannehill as my quarterback. I really don't think that's a good start right now for them. I don't think Tannehill's really going to take them anywhere from now to anywhere else. I don't think Tannehill-driven team is going to be able to perform well in this NFL.